Today we're going to find out what it's really like to study in South Korea. Is it all it's cracked up to be? Will you come here and meet a 멋진 oppa, or will you walk into a technological dystopia that's called Hell Joseon sometimes, perhaps somewhere in between? We've got 4 wonderful people here to tell you all about it, listeners. They're from different parts of the world, but what they have in common is that they're all in South Korea and they're all studying. And so they're going to tell you what it's like to study here. First of all.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Leah, and my Chinese name is Li Yaxi. I'm so happy to be here right now. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good night, good evening. My name is Zhaniya. I study work in Korea, and I've been living here for the past 5 years. I am from Kazakhstan, but I've also lived in the United Arab Emirates. So hopefully I'll be able to provide some insights and give some spicy takes.
I'm here for it. Let's go.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joana. I'm from France, Paris. I've been here for studying only for a semester. So I've been here for 2-3 months.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello, my name is Dillon. I'm from Canada. I've lived here for 4 years now, and I'm studying international business. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you all, guys. Thank you very much. Let's start with this before you came to Korea. So before you jumped on that plane, and this was 3 months ago for some of you, it was 4 years ago for others. Did you have any expectations? Were you scared at all? Did you see things about North Korea bombs? Did you watch K-pop videos? What were your expectations like before you came here? What were your family and friends saying?
I'll go first, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, coming to Korea was a little bit of a last-minute decision, a bit of a rush decision. Probably over the course of 4 or 5 months, I decided to change my life up and move here. And during that time, I managed to meet some people in my local town that actually had lived here, either teaching English or traveling here for months at a time. And they always told me really amazing things about living here. And my cousin actually used to live here for 5 years, teaching English in Daegu. And she always said it was the best 5 years of her life. She now lives in the United States, but she always told me so many amazing stories. And she would travel all over Asia when she was here. And it just sounded like something I wanted in my life. So my anticipation of coming here, I wasn't a big K-pop fan or anything like that. I like Korean movies, but I didn't really have any expectations of Korea other than that it was a very populated place, very crowded, very busy, lots to see and do. And it's also a safe country, but at the same time very different from Canada. So it's kind of the perfect place for me to go. I wanted to change my life up, but not go from a safe place like Canada and then go to a dangerous place in the world. It was still something drastically different from Canada, but yet still modern and safe. And when I arrived to Korea, it was basically what my expectations were. Yeah.
Great. Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's so different from mine.
You go next then. You tell us.
I first heard of South Korea in middle school, and it was through directly through K-pop. So I've been a K-pop fan in middle school. Then in high school, I was more a K-drama watcher and webtoon. I was full into webtoons, and so it was I never pictured Korea outside of the Hallyu culture. So it was so weird to me here to meet people who were I don't know about anything about this country. I'm what do you think? What do you mean? K-drama show us everything, and no, kind of no. But it was so interesting to learn about the culture that is so far away. It's literally the other side of the world for me. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how different it was. For me, it was not a life-changing decision. It was just oh, where should I go? South Korea sounds fun. Let's go. But yeah, what was your incentives to come here?
Mine incentive. So I'm a full-time student over here. So it actually happened during the time as I was applying to schools. To be completely honest, Korea was not on the list. I was more of a anime fan rather than K-pop. I was kind of far off of that. But as you all know, when it comes to modern cultures or subcultures, they're intertwined. So I had a lot of friends who were into K-pop, into webtoons, all of that jazz. And we obviously discussed those aspects. So I knew about Korea, and in general in Kazakhstan, there's quite a big population of ethnic Koreans. So a lot of my best friends, a lot of my close friends were actually Korean. So it was never something too far out of reach, if anything. I always knew it existed. I always knew what's up. I always knew what's popping, what's good, what's bad. Korean makeup and in general Korean produce, you can easily find it in Kazakhstan. And then after I moved to the UAE, it felt like I moved away farther from it, if anything. And in general, I feel like Kazakhstan and Korea are more similar than people think. So at heart, I knew that it's not going to be as different. But as a student, I guess you were moving from a teenagehood into adolescence. So it was really scary, taking into account that 5 years ago was COVID. So I came here during COVID time whilst we still, I don't know if you remember, but we had to do 2-week quarantine.
Yeah.
We had to stay at a place. And I was really scared because I knew that CCTV is watching me and stepping out of the room, I would get fined immediately. So in that aspect, it was really scary, as in moving away from my family and starting a new life at a new place and being by myself. That part was crazy scary. But Korea, no, I knew it was safe. And I knew that is something that I am like well aware of. Obviously there are going to be some nuances, but I knew that it's a place that is not too different from what I used to live in or like used to exist in. So it was kind of like that. How's it in China?
I first actually I didn't choose Korea at the first thought. Yeah, I used to plan go to the England and also this half-year exchange, but this is a coincidence. I go to Korea. But before I been here, I think Korea is very safe and it's almost similar as China, because they're just 1 hour different, It's so close. So if I talk some expectation in Korea, actually at first I want to run into some idol or just celebration on the way. And another thing is our school festivals. I will really look forward that just a free concert. Who don't like that? Yeah. But I didn't fear at all because I think many Chinese people know Korean much better, maybe because it's close and we can so many video online on our Chinese social media. So I think I'm familiar with Korean. So go here is safer than the England, I think. Yeah.
True.
You looked at me when you said that, Leah.
Because I don't know that anymore, anytime,
I feel like it's so interesting that China is like looks similar to like Korea because like Japan is also very close.
Yeah.
But it's so different from Korea. So I didn't know that China was like kind of similar. Where are you from in China?
I come from southwest part. Actually, a little bit far from Korea.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But I think everything is similar.
I feel like I can relate to this, as in it feels... you're aware that it's a different country, but it's more homey somehow. It's like, there are going to be people who look like me more so, or I'll be able to blend in, perhaps. In that sense, it's more safe, I want to say, or it doesn't feel too foreign, kind of.
I definitely, I agree with that too. I don't know if it's the American influence over the time here, but like when I go to Japan feels so foreign to me. It's like, I don't know if I could ever live here. Yeah. Whereas Korea, it's like, I feel relatively comfortable here, even though there's not many people that look like me or anything like that. Still, just the way things operate here just feels more comfortable, more closer to home. So,
like when the first weeks when I came here, I did like some story to my friends, and they told me, "How are you like so comfortable? You're not nervous at all. It looks like you're just in a different city in France. Like my behavior." And I was like, I don't know why I feel like home here. I feel like maybe because everything is easy and there is a lot of safety, so you feel like, even though it's a completely different language, a completely different people, like I don't blend in. So like I got stares. But even though apart from that, honestly, I felt like home here.
That's
Like, yeah.
That's great. Maybe in your past life, who knows?
Yeah, maybe in my past life I was a Joseon dynasty princess.
There's a K-drama in that somehow, absolutely.
Maybe.
And then when you arrive here, perhaps your first impression, so the COVID thing is different, whether you arrived during that time, whether you arrived 3 months ago, or perhaps like me 20 years ago. I remember having to sit at home and learn how to use chopsticks because we don't use much chopsticks in the south of England. Like you would have already had the rice and the chopsticks, you're good. I remember sitting at home practicing picking up the remote control, my cigarette lighter, a bottle of beer, because I had to go out and wine and dine with people and I didn't want to look like an idiot. And that was a completely new thing for me. And the whole place smelt so differently for me. The garlic, the soju, the kimchi, it was a lot more pungent back then, but I'll never forget sitting there having to learn how to use chopsticks. And I got to the stage where people would go, David, you use chopsticks better than a Korean person because there's acceptable ways to use them, isn't there?
You've excelled your motor skills, I can see.
Yeah. It was big. What are some of your first impressions when you get here? All those expectations have gone. You're here in Korea. Some first impressions, some first emotions, events?
For me, I arrived right near the tail end of COVID, and it was definitely a unique experience. I didn't know a lot about Korea, but I knew that Myeongdong was like the touristy place to go. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go to Myeongdong, and this was during COVID. And I went there, and it was like basically a ghost town. I was like, this is not what I expected. Like half the shops are closed.
Where are the Chinese people?
There's there's no tourists, and it was also the winter time when I arrived, and it was just very isolating, and everyone has masks on, and even starting school, we had barriers up in between the classmates and space, and so I feel like during that period of time, it was a very isolating experience, and that's not so much a Korea thing. It was just COVID plus Korea, moving to a foreign country, all that combined just made for a very difficult start to the life here, I think. Thankfully, I met really great classmates and people, but coming to Korea, that first initial shock for me was, I think, more COVID than anything. The quarantine was rough. I didn't have a very nice accommodation for my quarantine, but the actual setting up life here was quite easy. The school helped a lot with the ARC card and stuff like that. So the convenience here is crazy. Even though my Korean is not very good at all, it's so incredibly convenient that growing pains into setting up life here is not too bad at all. At least for me, I felt so. But COVID was definitely a big challenge coming here.
Yeah, definitely. When I arrived at the Incheon airport, it was empty. That's not what I heard about. I had certain expectations towards one of the biggest airports in Asia, but it was completely empty. And I remember people wearing masks and gloves as well. There were no people at all. It felt like a ghost town, definitely 100%. I was lucky enough to have some guidance. I knew people in Korea, so they were able to help me out with signing all the documentation. I don't know if you remember, but when we came during COVID time, you had to basically sign up a lot of the documents proving that you are healthy.
Yeah.
The COVID test, you had to go to Pogonso and everything. They would shove in that little thing up your nose.
The trauma.
Yes, and I was completely by myself. I was 19, almost just turned 20. It was really, really scary. It felt like a hospital, if anything. But I think I arrived a little bit earlier. I came in summer, and I remember getting out of the airport and keeping in mind that you've mentioned that the regulations in Korea were much stricter than in other countries, perhaps, during Corona time. And everyone kept on wearing masks, but it was really hot, extremely humid, and the climate was so different. It was something that I did not expect. I guess the Korean weather is one of my biggest culture shocks over here. And I couldn't breathe. But then I was like, oh, this is so cool.
So when I get Korea, I was it's just really a terrible traffic jam when I from Incheon airport and to Hanyang University, because I live just near to our university. So the first time I get our accommodation, I feel there are too many bungalow here. Just like getting to an old, just like the house in my hometown and when I live in the childhood. So I think a little bit upset that time because I think the house is old and there's no elevator. What is
Elevator.
that? Elevator. Yeah. No elevator here. But I found there are too many convenience store and too many coffee on the street. Yeah, too many. There were 4 to 5, just one street. Yeah, so I found okay, that's fine. I'm near the school, so I may be safe here. Just say okay. Not too many culture shock to me, maybe.
Too many coffee is crazy.
Yeah.
There's not as many coffee shops in Singapore or Japan or China. Korea has so many.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
I've been told.
There are so many, but like in France, we don't have. We have a more how do you say, terrace.
Yeah.
So it's more like bars where you can sit and like talk and take your coffee there. But it's not like really coffee shops with like themes and cozy. You can study there. We only have like Starbucks, but it's not like really as cute. And like coming here, like my favorite hobby is trying all the different coffee shops in Seoul. I love it. Like every time I try to go to a new one. So I don't feel like there are too many. Like I don't know. I love the fact that there are so much of it. But yeah, I think my first impression was, oh, it really looks like a webtoon. I don't know. I was too like in the matrix of webtoon, but I was like, oh, the streets looks exactly the same, and I felt like, oh, maybe I'm gonna meet my future chaebol husband at the corner of the street.
Did you meet him yet?
Not yet, but I'm still waiting.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like the most surprising thing here was some smells remind me of not France, but like the Caribbean island where I'm from. And that was so weird because that's the most like different places in the world, and still there are some things that like remind me of it. So I was like, oh, maybe it's my brain trying to find like details that it knows, so that I can like live on and okay, I know this, we can go through it. But yeah, that was the most surprising thing, like getting new smells that still remind me of something. That was weird.
There's a wonderful quote from anthropology which says you have to find the familiar in the strange and the strange in the familiar. And you come here and lots of things might seem familiar and we're used to, and then others feel very different. And it all depends where we come from. And I'm amazed, by the way, that how the stories of you sometimes maybe coming when you're 19. Like as a 19-year-old young woman walking into a new country, I think it's a bit different according to gender and age, right? Were your parents worried about you or your family, or were they happy to get rid of you?
Both, actually. We were crying, ugly crying at the airport. But then 2-3 weeks later, they got a cat. In replacement of a moi. I got replaced really quickly. But yeah, I'm a firstborn daughter, eldest daughter of the family. So it was definitely first time experience for them, letting go of their child to a completely different place. And at the time we used to live in the Emirates, which is a bit farther away from Kazakhstan. Look at me.
It's okay.
The mic. So it's a bit farther away. So they're definitely worried. A lot of crying happened. But I think now, seeing what I've become over the years, they're really proud. And in general, when they were letting me go, I guess it's an Asian family thing. They were really proud of me getting into a good university, first of all. And they were proud of the daughter that they've raised, I guess. So it's a mix of emotions. But I'm pretty sure they were happy if,
oh yeah, go away. No, we're crying. We're crying.
Yeah, certainly having some empty space at home definitely felt good for them, I bet. But
before we talk about the education, and that's what I want to look at as well, maybe something about the people here or the friends. So we've talked about the environment, the foods, the safety, the accommodations and these kind of things, Korean people, the idea of making friends, interacting with the locals, because that's how you're meant to, find the real true culture. And I often say to my students, my international students, when they arrive, go hiking.
Yeah.
Because if you walk down the streets in Seoul,
definitely.
people won't say hello to you. They'll just, and if you say hello, they'll just look at you and say, they won't like it. But if you go hiking, someone will walk past you and say, 안녕하세요, hello, and they'll start talking. How has it been interacting with Korean locals and friends, this kind of idea?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned hiking, because that's precisely what I did when I first got here. And I was using an app. I forget the name of the app, but it was basically an app where you could sign up for events. And you type in your interests, like hiking or soccer, football, whatever you're into, and then it would match up with people that also like the same sort of things, and you go in groups. And so I joined a hiking group and went hiking. And when you're in Seoul, everyone's so busy and pali culture. So it's not so easy to interact with people like when you're in the city, which is a bit ironic because there's so many people. But if you get just a little bit outside of Seoul into the mountains, people seem to relax and interact with you more. And I would hike with these groups, and then I would do hikes on my own as well. And if you get to the top of the mountain, all of a sudden people are coming up to me, offering me kimbap or ramen or
That's nice.
That's good.
makju, like all sorts of drinks. And people are wanting to talk to me. And then you get back to Seoul and they're just on their phone in the subway, right? So, but I feel like just like in Seoul or like anywhere you go in the world, if you do something like a hobby, it makes it a lot easier to meet people with common interests and stuff. So I definitely recommend for anyone coming here, if you have a hobby, try and find groups like this where you can meet people. And I find that Koreans are very open to foreigners and interested in traveling. And the language barrier is always a thing, but it's Koreans are quite open, warm people. In Seoul, in the subway, it's pretty on their phones. Everyone's looking down on their phones. But if you can do those events, I think it's not too bad meeting people. So
I feel like even in Seoul, in the streets, if you look like a foreigner, some old like ajushi or ajumma will they still come to me and be like, 어느 나라? Like, which country are you from? and even like when you say, that's a mistake I did the first weeks. When you say, oh, I speak a little bit of Korean, they will start telling the whole story of their ancestors and like, oh, I've been to France too once, and like all in Korean. So even like they love to talk. They love to talk to strangers. I had like one ajushi in the subway. He sat next to me and he was like, where are you from? I was like, oh, France. And he said, welcome to Korea. He was so adorable. And he read me a poem in Japanese. And he was like, yeah, I've been to France, to Japan, to so many countries. I was like, oh, 대박.
A true cosmopolitan ajoshi.
Yeah. And so the like people, especially like old people, they're so interested in foreigners, so interesting, like hearing, where are you from? Oh, like they want to get to know why you're here, what is your interest here. And it's even like in the mountains, it's everyone is talking to everyone. I don't know, it's really lovely, the like atmosphere there. I love it.
I actually agree with both of you when it comes to, I feel like the farther away I am from Seoul, the friendlier people get.
yeah.
It's not necessarily, you don't have to go to the mountain. People know. You can go to Gyeongju or any like Daegu, Daejeon, any other cities. And I had opportunity to travel due to my work. And I can just feel how people are more relaxed in a way. They have more time to spare, kind of. Even in Busan, which is second largest city in Korea, people are a little bit more laid back, I want to say. They are more open to have a conversation with you, even when you order coffee. You know, probably it's not as common, but striking a little bit of a small talk. asking where you're from, what you're up to, what's your go-to order is something I was like, oh, Busan is nice. I can see myself living here.
That's
So-
actually the slogan, though, isn't it? Busan is good.
Busan
Yeah.
is good.
That's their official city
Yes,
slogan.
it is indeed
Yeah.
good. So in that sense, definitely. And when it comes to older people, yeah, they're more approachable. I had instances where people would come up to me and ask me for directions a lot of the times, and it's older people, and I'm just like, I'm 외국인. Like I will try to help you, but I am 외국인. I don't know. Definitely, and I cannot blame people for just staring at their phones when they're on the subway. Same, genuinely, no judgment. I've been there, done that. Do it on daily basis. But I feel like definitely people who are a little bit more older and maybe someone who lives outside of Seoul would be a little bit easier to approach, because I can definitely see how for someone who has who is more anxious like me, or someone who is a little bit more introverted, would have a hard time because I feel like we as humans look for approval, signs of approval, and in cities like Seoul, it may be they're all busy with their business, which obviously, right, they're all busy with their work or busy talking to somewhere else. A lot of the times you can see a group of people walking. It's like girlfriends, couples, and you feel very alone, very alienated kind of. So I can see how it can be a little bit overwhelming, but definitely going out to nature,
Yeah.
a different city perhaps. Busan is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be helpful.
Yeah,
Because
you
I-
have to
I feel
stay
like-
here for so long time, right? But I just get here 3 months, so I just know the Korean people in the class. So my classmate is Korean, but he never talked to me. I think, actually, I think it is hard to make friends with Korean local people for our exchange student, right?
It is a little bit more difficult. It's not, it takes a little bit more effort, I'd
Oh,
say.
yeah, I think
They're
so.
very open and they want to be friends, but I feel like
That
if
close
both-
relationship is
yeah,
very-
if you're
Yeah.
both on a shyer end, someone needs to step out of the comfort zone, and it needs to be you who needs to do that. Otherwise, they would stay in their place, which maybe they don't want to cause you any burden or disturb you in any way. That's something that I'd noticed. Nunchi, all of that.
Yeah.
So you have to be the one who would be a little bit more extroverted in case you want to make friends, really. That's something that I learned here.
Yeah, I think so. It's very interesting that when I come to Korea, many people just take me as a Korean people, right? So every time, and just like I go to the Olivia Young or some museum, the seller just say Korean to me. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm 중국어 사람이에요. So I can't speak Korean like that. And but they will feel so shocked. Maybe just appearance is the same, and they will friendly take you away, right? And this is most impressed me. One thing is in the Busan.
Busan is good.
Busan is good. I went to an old restaurant in the just like the restaurant area, and the Sansenin. Yeah, is that right? No,
Sajani,
Sajani.
the owner. Yeah.
Sajani totally cannot speak English to us, so we just use body language and so 이거 to me like that. And at first he will feel so weird to look at us, just 5 people to 6 people, and no one can speak Korean. but actually, when the dishes is on the table, he will ask, 맛있어? So 맛있어요. I'm very happy to leave. So I think Koreans so friendly to us here.
Busan is good.
Besides good.
But I feel like even when you don't know how to speak Korean, like these little interactions, I had so many of it.
Yeah.
Like just like talkless, speechless, just interaction. Like 네,
Yeah.
and it's so like human, because I feel like Seoul lacks of like human interactions, because like you even when you order in most restaurants or cafe, you have just like tablets to like order, and they don't, like workers, they don't really love to speak, and so it's difficult to make small talks with them. But I feel like Koreans in like the university, if you If you like make a step to them, like as you said, they will like open up kind of easily. Because like my first line was always, "Oh, can I sit here?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, do you want this?" Like it was like usually gums or I don't know, like some food, some snacks. And they were like, "Oh, 감사합니다." And then like we just like start talking. And
Yeah.
like if you make just a small step toward them, I feel like they're very open.
Yes, they are.
Korean friends, Joe?
Yeah,
Possible?
like yeah, Korean friends. I feel like they might be a bit shy, but they are like a lot lively. Like they are so joyful. Most of them. Like I don't know for guys because I'm only friends with girls because I'm in a women's university. But they're like so interested. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, is it here? Like, do you want some? Is it hard here? Do you want some help with anything? Do you want to have lunch together? And yeah, like Korean friends. Like, I feel like it's kind of depends maybe on the university, but because Seoul Yojade Hakyo, Seoul Women's University is there are like a few foreigners there, and usually they are more from Southeast Asia, or Chinese people or Japanese people. So when they see my face and I say, "Oh, I'm from France," they're like, "What?"
So curious.
Yeah, maybe I have this like easy pass, but yeah.
Yeah. Good.
For me, I feel like it also depends on what do you mean by friendship, because I feel like friendship could be expressed in many different ways. So far, I'd say after living here for 5 years, Korean, maybe a Korean who has lived abroad, probably that would be the easiest way. But when it comes to a local Korean who has lived in Korea their entire lives, it's a little bit more challenging to become super close, or at least, like in my understanding of friendship, I wouldn't call it like friendship. A friend, an acquaintance, perhaps, but nobody's name comes to mind when it comes to a friend, a true Korean friend.
Like building true connection.
In my understanding of friendship, yes. So
I feel like I was pushing a little bit when it comes to like trying to build a real connection, because like I was like, "Oh, do you want to hang out? Do you want to go there? Do you want to," like I was always the one asking to go out and stuff. But once, like it was only at the beginning, and once we passed this phase, like I've made maybe like 3 like good friends, I think, that I would like to keep like for a long time.
You share a dorm with a Korean as well,
Yeah.
is that right as well?
She's but she went in California, so she's like fluent in English. She had an interest in France, so we had apart from that we had like common interest, and she's not like so outgoing, but still she was super nice to me, and she was my first friend, actually, first Korean friend here. And if you live in a dorm, having a Korean roommate is the best, because she can like help you in so many ways, and she can show you so many aspects of her culture and stuff. So that was like a huge help, honestly. And as to this day, she still like make me discover some things in Korea, in Seoul, and I try to make her discover some things in the city too. So yeah, she's been like really a lovely friend.
Shout out to Bella.
Shout out to Bella, my girl.
So when you are talking, you use English or Korean?
English. I try to slip out some words in Korean. She tries to slip out some words in French.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's good.
But mostly English, yeah, because I'm not really fluent in Korean. So having friendship in Korean, it's a bit difficult, because like even jokes, for example, or references or memes, I don't get it. So English is better. Yeah. I have a friend who's in French major, and she only speaks French to me, and she doesn't speak like that well of English. So we only speak French. And she's so fluent. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, usually mostly French, mostly English. Sorry. Do you have like any Korean connection?
Yeah, I'm a pretty introverted person, and so I spend most of my time alone, which is fine. Korean friends I do have, but it's more of like once every month or a couple months we'll meet up for dinner or so. And partially it's because I'm introverted. I spend most of my time alone. And another part is I think like Koreans are quite busy with life, studying, working. They're very busy, and the fact that I'm not here forever, I think also makes it more difficult to make really close friendships, because you don't want to get really close to someone and then have them leave, right? So I feel like as a foreigner, that makes it a little bit more difficult to create that genuine friendship with somebody, because there's just like a time limit on it, and eventually that painful end is going to come. So it's possible to stay friends abroad.
You can say that about life in general,
Yeah, it's true. But, if you're here for exchange or whatever, like a couple months, goes by pretty quick. And if you make an amazing friend and then possibly never see them again, it might, not be the most fun experience. So, but yeah, I have Korean friends. I wouldn't say like best friends or very close or we talk daily or anything, but if I want to go out for dinner with somebody or something like that, yeah, sure. But
Yeah, in that sense, very friendly, very good. But a genuine relationship, don't know. Hard to name it.
A lot of people will say this, though, and I think if you were going to another country, whether it might be Spain or Colombia or Finland or something, it might be a lot easier to get along, maybe even China, with the locals. But over here, it's something that a lot of people have said, that it's, whether you're introverted or extroverted or European or Asian, that it's hard to get Korean friends. This is a story that I've heard a lot, and there are many, many reasons for that. Language might be one. One of the things that I've always said is, rather than friends, you're trying to get hyungs and nunas and oppas and onnis, because Koreans don't have friends in that sense, right? They do have friends, of course, but they refer to each other by these titles. And so when you can get to the stage where Koreans call you hyung or onni or things like this, then you know you're in there. That's a hard challenge to get. Who's older, you or Bella, Joe?
Bella.
Bella, do you call her onni?
No.
Oh, try it. Go home and don't just
I don't know. Like
Test your friendship.
Yeah.
She's going to look at me like, with that now? What? But I feel like since I've been a K-pop fan in middle school, I've been so scared to being called Korea Boo. That I don't want to call anyone oppa, anyone onni. Like, I'm so scared of that.
But you realize that's what every Korean does.
Yeah, I know. But like as a foreigner, is like I'm so scared of that. I know I'm like some of my friends are totally fine with saying oppa and as a foreigner, but I don't know. I'm just like, I don't want to get this title of Korea Boo.
it's like a negative aspect to that.
But to be fair, some Koreans also, whenever you refer to them, or you call for them, right? You refer to them as 아가씨 or 언니 or oppa. They're like, oh, don't call me that, please. Like sometimes I get that reaction. I'm just like, okay, sorry, mate. I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
I'm sorry, bro.
No.
My sister-in-law calls my wife Onni and her sister. It's really interesting, just the way that these titles go. And I'm so thankful that the younger guys on my football team, they come up to me and call me Hyung.
Wow.
Like, they don't come up to me and go, hi, David Lake, and all this bro and fist bump me. They come up to me and they say, oh, Hyung, and they do this. And that makes me feel accepted as a regular person, just being treated like that. Big challenges with the friends, but you did all start by saying that Koreans are lovely and welcoming and warm and friendly, but sometimes that friendship is a different level. Because if you do excuse me, if you do have a hyung, an onni, an oppa, something like that, that involves a lot of commitment to each other. You're meant to give each other stuff. You're meant to be there for stuff. Like, if I have some dongsengs, if I have some younger people, I'm meant to give them stuff. My hyungs give me stuff, right? Just randomly. It's this Jong culture. But they just come up to me and go, here's a pair of trainers, sneakers for you. I'm like, what? Oh, okay, thank you.
It's not my birthday, do you know that?
Right. But there is this reciprocal relationship that comes in, and so that's a big commitment maybe. And the going away, getting replaced by a cat or something that will happen.
Definitely.
But
And it's interesting in China, you don't use these whole hyungs, oppa, 언니.
No, actually not. We just call our name. Yeah. Even the close friend, maybe some nickname, but we not call oppa, 언니. I think it's so weird.
Yeah. You become a Korea boo very quickly. Or so. It's like me going to France and go to Mon Chéri or something like this. It would be weird, wouldn't it? Or, yeah.
It's kind of cliche. Like you can do it, but if you do it, it's kind of weird too. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so everywhere you go, it's what's up, mate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, what up? Yeah.
Shall we talk a little bit about study? Because the one thing that you do all have in common is that you are studying here. And you've been studying for different amount of times at two different universities. So maybe start with some thoughts on Korean education, what it's like, how it compares to back home, because Korean education has two reputations. One is that it comes very high on the PISA tests and the exams here are incredibly difficult and the level of math and science is outrageous. But at the same time, it's meant to be very grueling and robotic and rote learning and things like this. So what's been your real life experience with Korean education?
Just for me, this year just like a gap year. I'm so relaxed. Maybe because I just have a little class. Even if I have 5 class every day, I have 1 class. But I still feel, wow, it's good. It is better than China, the class. And when I'm studying, I think the Korean student in our school is very busy with their study.
Yeah,
Every time I
definitely.
go to the library, I see many people just study here. But it is really surprised me that the library have the bed. You know, there is a bed in library, so this
Really? I
student,
didn't know that.
the student will just, if you're tired, they will have a sleep and then turn back to study again.
Yeah.
So wow, it's crazy. We will come back dormitory, right? As for the class time, I think Korean's education is more flexible than China, like the schedule time. So in Korea, the class, if the teacher have finished the content they made, we will just class is over. But in China, every class we have 45 minutes. And if the class is over, but the time is not end, so we just stay in the stay in the classroom and until the big rain.
What?
So I think to here is more flexible, and I am more relaxed to have more spare time and do what things I am.
In Chinese universities, the bells ring.
Yeah, of course. Every class they will ring.
Okay. It sounds a little bit, this is not criticizing, but
yeah.
it sounds quite sort of primary school
Yeah.
or elementary school, ringing bells
I know
and things
that.
like this, yeah.
And the schedule in China is very busy. Like we will have the first class at 8 a.m. And if that day is so busy, we will end our class at 10 p.m. At night. Yeah, and the whole day's class, I just have a little time to have lunch and have a nap in the noon. So get here, it's just like a trouble here. You know? It was so fun, yeah.
What's your major?
My major is Chinese language and literature. Yeah, so when I get here, I don't have many class to combine like that. I just choose the class what I like, and David's class just attracted me. Yeah.
Me too. I couldn't find my my major classes.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
only in Korean. So I just chose what is meant to be like option, kind of, which are like only the English classes.
English.
So it's like very different from my French classes because first of all I have less and as you said it's more flexible and it's less academic studies where you have to learn everything by heart, and it's more like reflection, and maybe it's because it's all optional classes, but I feel like it's more like helpful in a mindful way. I was scared of like the academic level in Korea because of how hard it can be. Maybe the teachers are going to ask so much of me, and I feel like Korean students are more diligent, like than
Maybe.
French at least.
No.
But I think since like the real difficulties for them is high school. because they have to pass the high school test to get to a good university. And when they come to university, they are more relaxed. So I felt like it was kind of okay. It was not the harsh academic picture that I had in mind. So I'm actually pretty like nicely surprised by that.
For me, I'm influenced, when it comes to studying, I'm influenced by my surroundings quite a bit. If my classmates don't really care about their grades, my grades tend to drop. And if my classmates, are studious, then my grades tend to go up. So Korea is actually a good place for me to come and study, because you walk by any cafe, any time of day, there's people in there studying. And although I shouldn't maybe mention this in front of the professor, but I don't actually study that much. So the fact that I study at all, it is influenced by my surroundings here. And in Canada, I think Korea does have a reputation for being, a high level of education here, very high stress, high requirements. So when I came here, I was a little bit nervous. It's also been a while since I've been in school. I'm quite a bit older than most of my peers. So I was like, oh, do I even know how to like write a test anymore? And like when I first got here, everyone's like using all these like websites for homework assignments and stuff like that. And I was like, geez, I don't know any of these. And so it was a big jump. But the fact that education is so important here makes me feel like I should care about it more. And I kind of knew that coming here. And I think it was actually a big benefit to me in studying here. Like the influence just being here on improving your education, like you feel it. So
I just want to echo, by the way, shout out to the Sajangnim who's just walked in all the way from Pyeongchang. We've had to set up without him. He's got a big smile. He doesn't speak any English, so he's not understanding this. He's learning quietly. I love what you're saying about this, Dillon, about the way that it can be a backdrop to study hard, because you can come from a culture where it's not really cool to study and things like that. But all of a sudden you're here and there's people studying in cafes and they're pushing and they're doing things, and the classrooms are generally quiet and conducive to studying. They're kind of respectful and things like this. So I found it a really wonderful place to study, because I don't have to do the sunung and things like this. That's granted. But overall, I think this is a nice place. And I've been very impressed by the intelligence levels, it's a weird thing to say, but of my students in general. They're kind of, sure, they might not know the difference between Plato and Descartes and Heidegger or things like that, but their general understanding of the world and things, I think, has been pretty good.
I think the difficulty of studies also depends on your major and whether you are an English or Korean track. I totally agree. Whenever the midterms or 기말고사 comes around, of the final season, midterm season, all the places are occupied. It's very hard to find a place to study. The library, the cafes nearby, the university area, all full of pack of students. So that is definitely very inspiring. I felt very bad whenever I did not study.
Definitely.
These students I brought to you today, people that don't study.
Guys, what are you studying for? Like, relax. And it happens usually like 2 weeks before the exams. And I am the type to do everything last minute. So whenever I saw people just grinding and studying and putting so much effort, I was just like, oh, maybe I should be just like them. Oh, well. But the environment didn't really affect me. I'm glad to say, I'm still a last minute type of girl.
Any comments on Korean professors? Because
do you count? Like,
I would say, for the most part, for me personally, most of my Korean professors have done their PhDs or masters like in the United States or Canada, so their English proficiency is good, and I haven't really noticed much difference. Maybe a little bit difference in how like they want to be treated in class.
Yes.
It feels a little bit more like a hierarchical difference.
Yes.
Whereas if I have like a Western professor, it just feels like back home. So, but I would say for the most part, there's not much difference for at least the professors I've had so far. But with maybe the exception of one economics professor.
This guy.
I had my fair share of experiences, and whenever you guys mentioned that the system is more flexible, you can actually there's a certain period of time where you are allowed to make your own schedule, pick the classes that you like, with the professors that you like, and you basically build your own schedule to study for anyone who does not know how the system operates. And that's great. I found it to be excellent because I had an experience studying in Russia, and over there the schedule is set. There is number of courses that you need to take. There are lessons that you need to take, even though that doesn't really apply to the major that you're doing. Even though I was studying world economics, I was still forced to take physical education classes for some reason, and we never attended, obviously. But we still, at the end of the year, we needed to submit a PPT file on physical education, on the importance of running, which, I did not learn anything, but it still happened. So in that sense, the system being so flexible, yet, listen, it's not. It may sound great, and it is, but whenever you have to fight other people to get into those classes, it definitely has given me some gray hairs on my head.
Do you have any compulsory classes? You've been here for 4 years. So at Hanyang, compulsory is like coding. At Seoul Women's University, students have to do chapel.
Yes.
Any compulsory classes? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Every semester there is a list of classes that we have to take in order to graduate. Those classes can be linked to your major, for example, accounting classes or financial management classes like understanding of marketing. So anything business related, those are the classes that I have to complete if I want to graduate. But then again, if I don't want to graduate and I want to spend more time here, I am free to take optional classes.
Tell us about the Korean professors, Zhaniya.
The Korean professors. Overall, I have a lot of respect for the profession, and I am a very passionate person who comes from a lineage of professors. So sometimes, and it does not apply to Korean professors strictly, I've had foreign professors who were just not the best people. Let's just say that. Let's put it this way, where perhaps their character might have been a little bit, or maybe their attitude wouldn't be the best, in my opinion, or things that they could have done better as a scholar, as a professor, as someone who needs to guide you through the things. So there are definitely things that I would have done differently, and I do not possess any license yet, but I was a teacher. I was, how do you call it? Like a tutor for a lot of the students. And I have certain opinions on how things should be done. And whenever I see that some of the professors our morals do not align in that way, it may be my personal, just like, I get annoyed a little bit. When it comes to Korean professors specifically, they're very kind. They're very nice. In general, they definitely take into account that you're a foreigner over here. They are maybe a little extra nice to you, which at times great. But sometimes my morals are telling me like, oh, I should be treated just like everyone else. And the thing that I've noticed in the past few years is that the number of international students have increased, whether they are full-time students or exchange students. And sometimes when the class consists of foreign students mostly, I can see that professors can give us more of a slack because they know that for some reason, they perceive that some of the international students who are coming into the classes are exchange. And in their perception, exchange students are not going to be staying here for long. Therefore, their exchange period is mostly considered as a holiday. As you guys mentioned yourselves, right? You come here for holidays, and therefore the material is quite easy. The professors are not as demanding, which in some cases great. But then at times I just sit down and I think to myself like, oh, I pay so much money just to have someone read off the slides and not necessarily teach you anything. Like, your motivation to attend those classes goes low, at least for me, whenever I don't receive those like passionate speeches or like I don't know. It really depends for me. Like it matters a lot when the professor really loves their job, when they're passionate about the topic, and I can see how much they've studied, how much they know, how eager they are to share that energy and knowledge. And whenever I do not, in a lot of the cases with mostly Korean professors, unfortunately, they just come, and I understand they're doing their job, right? They come to a class, they load their PPTs, they start reading it for 30 minutes. I get really bored. I sleep. Listen, I fall asleep. I barely learn anything. I have to do everything last minute before the exam. And that's sort of the energy that I've received over the past 4 years in a lot of the classes. I should also take into account that I study business, which is kind of easy. So if it was, right, if it was a computer science class or maybe history, things might have been different. But I've noticed that a lot of the contents that professors share, as a business major, right, as a business professors, a lot of the content kind of intertwines with one another, so it gets repetitive, it gets boring. The professors themselves, they don't really look like they want to be there. So I get caught in that energy. That's why I just sneak out and take classes from other departments or optional classes.
Do you think they are less passionate because it's like English class, maybe? Like since it's not like in their like formal language, they can be less passionate.
Maybe there is a language barrier as well, right? I don't want to blame them and say like, oh, you're a bad professor or anything like this. Maybe there is the language aspect plays in, and also like certain, as I said, they perhaps think that the exchange students are here just for the quick Korea tour session, the party part. In a lot of the cases, right? And during the lecture time, instead of teaching a lesson, they would be like, "Oh, where are you from? What is it like? Do you like Korea? Did you try kimchi jjigae?" And a lot of the cases.
I love that sass that you did when you did that.
Korean teacher is sassy. Like what?
Oh, they are. And at times like this, I can see their true personality, and I'm like, hey, you are a human. Like, come on, bring those emotions to the lesson. Like, I would love to, like, give it to me. But in a lot of the cases, they're just like, oh, you're from Germany. How's it in Germany? Great, interesting. And you're just there being like, well, my country's not as interesting, of course, but then also like...
Over the years, I've been so influenced by Zhaniya's Instagram stories because they're incredibly spicy sometimes. But she'll maybe post something like, thank you for Professor today, not me, but thank you, Professor, today for making us watch a YouTube video that I could just have watched at home. What am I paying for? And I'm going to class and going, delete my YouTube video with my PPT. Like, you see all of these things coming. But it's good. It's real. And it's like this day-to-day evaluation of the education.
Unfortunately, yeah. Some professors would just add in a bunch of videos onto the lecture, which... I could have watched at home. And it's like a YouTube link, and that enrages me. I'm like, oh, what about give some credit to the person who created the video? First thing. Second thing, I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm spending, and I'm a person who unfortunately is employed. So sometimes I'm like, damn, here is an opportunity cost right here. I could have been at work. I could have made some money. And instead of that, I have to, because another aspect of Korean universities is attendance is very important.
Yeah.
I think that is very different from European universities.
You all said yes at the same time.
Right. So you have to attend. You must attend because that goes directly into your grade. And if you... I think skip more than 5 classes.
4 or 5 classes.
4 or 5 classes, you automatically get an F.
Yeah.
And I've heard that people from America and Europe are always so surprised by this aspect. So I assume it's different. And so I must be there, otherwise I'll get an F. And, I could be doing good academically. I could be passing exams with flying colors, or I could have good participation points in general. But unless I attend the class, and the class, just feels like a waste of time sometimes. And that really triggers something in me. Probably my wallet, but also my heart. Sometimes I'm just like, I could have done something else. Like this is my day off technically. So my schedule is basically I work 5 days a week, and then I get 2 days off.
Yeah.
In those 2 days off, I magically managed to squish in all of my lectures. So as of now, it's especially triggering when my day off gets wasted on a lecture with a bunch of YouTube videos, and I'm just like, listen, this is such. I could have met with my friends, or I could have slept a little bit longer today. So I get pissed off a little bit. Or
Do you take Korean language classes?
that's another thing that I don't really like about our university.
Number one.
She makes a bunch of
Your
lists,
Korean is
like-
excellent, though, isn't it? It's very good.
It's enough to get by. I can ask where the bathroom is. I can order some things, but it's okay. It's not great, but I can manage. Our university, as far as I know, does not offer any free Korean lessons.
That was the bigger shocker.
Yes.
First coming here is go, okay, first semester here. Where's the Korean class I can sign up for? It's like, well, you're not allowed to sign up. I was like,
Yeah.
Excuse me? How am I supposed to live here for 4 years?
Yeah, that's
Oh, I have to do it on my own time, on my spare time. Yeah, it was
and
disappointing.
yeah.
to
Whenever
see.
you went in to ask, they would send you to a different desk that was assigned for international students because they couldn't assist you in English. At least in our department, that's how it was. So we had to go all the way into a different building that was 7 hills away in Hanyang and go speak to them. But their information was based off exchange student regulations, which are different. So we are, as international students who are fully assigned to our university, falling somewhere in between the exchange student regulations
we're-
and like a full-time Korean student regulation, somewhere in between, and there are no rules or regulations on how to deal with us. And that's something that really frustrated me in the first 2 years, and then I stopped caring, to be honest. And yeah, we were not allowed to take, and we still are not allowed to take any classes.
Yeah, I don't know if things have changed now, but it definitely felt like we were in like our own little purgatory when we first got here. Like we weren't quite Korean full-time students because we were exempt from taking certain classes that were
Yes.
required to graduate. But then we also weren't quite exchange students either. So we had our own little thing, and
And nobody
it's
knew
like a
what
new-
it was.
yeah, it's a new
necessarily.
program. It was like after COVID, they wanted to increase international students. So they kind of just like, yeah, come on in. And then it's like, oh, we have all these international students. How do we manage them now?
What
And
do
I
we
think,
do with them?
yeah, they're still kind of like growing through that. So I'm not sure what it's like now, but when I first got here, I have fully had the expectation that there would be some introductory Korean class that I could
Same.
take first year.
Same.
And there was a Korean class that you could select on the thing, but it was for exchange students only.
Yeah, we were not allowed to take it since we weren't exchange
Yeah,
students.
I was like, this is so bizarre. I'm coming here committing for like 4 years, my full degree, and I have to go spend my own money on.
How does, maybe this is a bit sensitive, how does tuition compare here to Canada or to other places?
For me, tuition is the same, and actually, I'm thankful to be from Canada because my Canadian government's paying for it for me to come here. So
Lucky.
yeah, it's quite nice. So yeah, the tuition is, I would say, almost the same. The big difference is the cost of living is way cheaper here. So
Lucky.
yeah, that was a big bonus in coming here. But yeah, thankfully, the Canadian government accepts Korean universities for their like student assistance programs. So yeah, they pay for most of the tuition, and then the rest is just on like a small student loan. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I'm very blessed to be.
Busan is good, Canada is good. So that's what we're getting. With regard the exchange students, there's this new system that's come in at Seoul Women's University where I have to grade on a curve. So of the class, 30% get A's, certain percent have to get B's or C's, right? So I can't just go and give out the grades as I want. I have to grade on a curve. And when I have classes full of international students and Korean students, the international students are graded on a separate curve to the Korean students, despite being in the same class. So I have to go through 2 different sets of grades for this one class. They're not all on the same rota, and that's only for the grading. On the attendance folder and the system, they're all the same, but when it comes to grading, they separate them.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. I'm not sure if it's they think they're trying to boost up the foreign student, keep the current. I'm not sure, but there's a new system they've incorporated.
In the Korean only class, or not Korean only, but Korean classes that are taught in Korean, is the attendance part of the grade like it is for
it's always compulsory, and most syllabuses will automatically have attendance 10% or something on there. I always take it off. I just say, just come to class.
Because I had heard that it was implemented to make sure that people are coming here on student visas and actually attending class and not going off and working or doing so. I kind of understand the attendance portion of it. So,
Yeah. But I think there's also an Asian, like you have to come to class.
Yeah.
It's, I think irrespective of visas, you're meant to go to school.
yeah.
And university is kind of still like school for some people here.
But there was for the grading system. I had the teacher explaining to us, and she was basically saying that we for like foreign exchange students were like advantaged by that, because since we were on a different curve, she could give as many A's as she could for foreign students, whereas Korean students she could give only a limited number of A's. And but she was saying no, but it's actually good for everybody in the class, because for Korean it takes you can give like 10 people in the class A's, for example. But since there are international students and Korean students, it's benefiting Korean students as well. So I was like, okay, makes sense.
Keep the customers happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't send the foreigners away with that. And they'll keep coming back, and it feels a bit like that. This is really interesting for me from the other side of this as a professor. And I also did my master's and PhD here, so I've experienced the Korean professors and the Korean education and things like this. But when I grade you guys and when I do this, the system, the educational system tells me your ranking in the class. And this is, yes. I've been speaking to Chinese students about this, and they're like, yeah, absolutely. And in our universities, they post them on the wall for everyone to see, right? But me, when I'm doing grades, I get a list, I get the ranking of what number you are in the class. So you might be number 4 or 5. And when my students hear about this, some of them come up to me and go, Professor, I want to know what number I am. And I'm like, are you sure? Because you might not want to know. But it tells me automatically. It's not something I have to program. It will say, this is student number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the bottom.
What do they base it off?
Your your grades.
GPA, yeah.
Your grades.
Just that?
Not your personality, not your nails.
You're the best students of the school. No.
Okay.
What are the campuses like, campus and university life? Because university life for me in the United Kingdom, it was just student unions and getting drunk and partying and girls and all of this. How do you... Yeah, of course. I mean, but also study, and I was a theatre and creative studies major, so maybe that was part of it. But how do you see university campuses? Is it like the webtoons?
It's kind of different. I was hoping to meet someone now, but it's like super different from France, at least.
How?
Because in France, universities are public. So we pay only like 100 or like 200 euros to go there, which is like very cheap compared to Korean private schools, private in universities. So we can see how bigger and how much they get their money worth, like kinda, because the campuses are way bigger. They're like clean. my bad, friends. But and also they have so many events, like the school festival is a big thing. Like the festival, university festival. I went to Hanyang. It's wild. Like the concert are like that's that was a reason why I came to a Korean university. But I was like, oh, maybe it's not true. Maybe it's just a rumor. It's actually true. It's actually true. So it was really impressive for me. It was so different from France.
Can I be...
Me? Oh, yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I think this most different is in the school cafeteria. Cafeteria. Yeah.
Coming back to the food, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so bad for me that in Hanyang, every lunch or dinner, you just have 3 choice and you will get your set meal like that. But in China, so every time you go to the dining hall, you can choose 30 to 40 kind of dishes in a window.
Wow.
So you just choose what what you like and how much you want and pay for that while you're picking. So when I get here, I just check the menu on the phone. So,
Yeah, and one of the sets that you can choose is ramen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ramyeon, rather.
Ramyun. I just eat 3 months ramyun. I really, wow. No, I don't want to say that. And also the campus, I think it is smaller than my university. Yeah. My university nearly 4 times bigger than the Hanyang is so big. So we have bus in our schools. We can just take bus from the dormitory to the teaching building like that. So when I get to Hanyang, I said, wow, it's so convenient. I just need 5 or 6 minutes from our accommodation to the teaching building. So I think it's good. Not so different here.
Lots of hills here, though.
What?
Hills, walking up hills.
Ah.
These campuses.
Because my hometown is in a mountain city, so I also need to climb many like that in our university. So every day is school climbing in Hanyang.
I want to study in China. 30, 40 dishes and a bus
Yeah.
to take you to
Yeah.
class. That sounds all
And
right.
hear that bell ring, huh?
And hear that bell ring in
Yes.
about 45 minutes.
And you need to sit like this, like,
no
professor,
need.
you're leaving the class, not us.
If you're in university, you don't need to just like that. But in your high school, maybe you should do that.
As a full-time student, I don't know if you would agree with my opinion, but you get kind of tired of those festivals, to be honest.
Yeah, I've
And
been gone for 2 years.
I
now.
do not go to those anymore. And I'm very sorry to be a party pooper, but a lot of the times, at least while we were studying at Hanyang, the guests were repetitive. We kept on getting the same people attending the festival. I would expect someone I would know or someone I would like, but we had Sai come in like 3 times, 4 times at this point, right? I have nothing against the guy. He's great. Excellent. But I saw him once. That was enough. And I don't know how it was for you.
Yeah, I haven't attended the festival for 2 years now. So
Yeah, no, don't go.
I went the first couple of years, and yeah, it was fun. It was exciting, and it is. We do see Sai every year, which he's great every time. But you know,
So yeah, as a full-time student, yes, the show itself is great, and the facilities, they do some pop-ups. They give you free stuff.
Yeah.
That's great, definitely. And then the spirit, all people are dressing up in the university colors. All that is fun. The first 2 years, and then after that, you get tired of it, and you're just like, can I just go through? Can I do my classes and just leave? I don't know.
It's noisy.
The Seoul Women's University campus does not sell any alcohol or cigarettes.
Yeah, no.
It's very clean. It's very conservative. Right? There's nothing, and even around the university, there's no bars.
Oh.
ours they
There's
have
so
like
many.
stacks of beer. from
Yeah, I
the-
saw like they were selling alcohol in the school when I got to a Hanyang festival.
In front of the
I was
7-Eleven,
so
there's like a
shocked.
mountain of beer.
I was like,
I was part of it.
Is it allowed? But in Seoul Women's University, they would give you like skincare, like food and stuff. And honestly, like it's a bit sexist. But at the same time, I love it. Like the products they gave were amazing. So I don't know. It depends on the university and what your preference are. But yeah, I like the concert in Seoul Women's University. I think it was an musical. Like it was like pianist. I think. I don't remember.
I don't go to them either anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen my size and my espers in J Parks, and it's good. But they are a big thing, and the campus is there. I want to have a look at maybe employment and working, and how does that go into it? Because my friend owns a restaurant, and whether you need to do it, but sometimes we associate students with having part-time jobs, and you do this. Zhaniya, you work.
I do.
Is it possible to work and be a student? Like visas, regulations, money? I know you don't want to talk about work, but give us an idea of what it is to be a student and work.
Difficult. Very, very, very difficult. Korea does allow you to work part-time as a D2 visa holder. That's a student visa that you will be getting, and it gets extended every 2 years. You are allowed 24 hours of work outside of school. and you need to get the permission from immigration office in case you'll be applying to do part-time. And it does not matter whether the part-time job is just like being a waiter or do tutoring. You still need to get an agreement paper, all the contracts, first of all, from the owner of the place or the work, right? And you also need to get some papers from the school and submit it to the immigration office, either online or you go to the immigration office directly, which it's kind of hard to get an appointment over there. So I would recommend doing it online.
What kind of work is possible in real life? Because everyone's like, I'm going to come here and I'm going to work for YG as an intern or something. Yeah.
Impossible.
No. That's you can, if you are extra spicy, you can do that. But us regular folks, you are, as of recently, I've read the news that number of foreign students actually increased in Korea in general, and there are more and more foreigners working in restaurants. But the first time I came here, that wasn't really a thing. Nowadays, a lot of Korean students do not want to work in the restaurants and they prefer something else. So working at restaurants as a waiter, dishwasher is possible. I have worked at a bar. That is also possible. You can work at cafes, catering jobs. If your visa allows it, or your passport rather, you can teach English. Unfortunately, my passport is not fancy in the regards of Korean immigration, and I am not allowed to do it. But if you are from England, America, Canada, etc., an English-speaking country, you are technically allowed to teach. So you can work at kids' cafes, you can work part-time at a kindergarten, or you can work at like hagwons and other places.
It's ridiculous you're not allowed to teach. How many languages do you speak, Zhaniya?
Fluently? I'm fluent in 3. Like I can confidently say that I speak 3. But then if we include Korean, which so, and then I did study French for a little bit.
Oh.
So comme ci, comme ça. And I did study Arabic for a little bit, and I studied Turkish. So like I can get by. I can ask like regular simple questions, but when it comes to a proper communication or a podcast like this, I wouldn't be able to stand the ground.
But wrong passport to teach it.
Wrong passport. But hey, if immigration does not see it, it did not happen. Someone who seeks will always find. If you are in a desperate situation, there's always a way. There are especially when you, as I mentioned earlier, in Korea there is a big community of Russian-speaking people. Koryo saram, and in general there is a big diaspora of people coming in from CIS countries. So there are groups, there are chats. If you're looking for it, you'll be able to find a job at a factory. That is possibly not necessarily super legal, but you can do it.
Since the war in Ukraine, I've noticed so many people from the CIS and from that just increased exponentially, especially women and men. They're trying to not be conscripted and get away from the conflict. Yeah. Korea has become home.
It has. Definitely has, and I'm very thankful in that regard. The community, I wouldn't say it's pretty tight, but there are a lot of people. So if you are communicative enough, if you are passionate enough, if you are desperate enough, you'll be able to get a job. I have done my fair share of jobs that were not necessarily allowed by the government. You can do it if you really need the money, and in some cases we know for those deposits for apartment deposits, you will be able to find a job, something under the table. And unfortunately a lot of the employers are kind of guilty of it themselves, right? So
private tutoring is also a huge culture in here. Just this cash in hand business. Come and sit in this room.
It's not even private tutoring. Like at big established businesses, under the table money is quite common.
Yeah, envelopes of cash.
That's crazy.
4 years, Dillon. Any Canada pays for everything. You don't do much. But any thoughts on work?
I have a unique situation. I do investing in the stock market a lot.
Okay.
So financially, I'm just independent. I don't need to get a job, especially the minimum wage here isn't enticing at all. So
It's not.
when it comes to money, I don't need to work, so I haven't really bothered with it. So.
Recommendations on stocks? What's hot at the moment? I've got stocks in shares in JYP. Go JYP.
Yeah.
Please stand twice.
I mean, it's hard to beat the American market. So like your simple like ETF, just owning the S&P 500 is probably your best bet for anyone. Not financial advice. I'm not signed off yet, but
Yeah, you just said.
S&P 500 is definitely the way to go. And then if you're not owning a little piece of artificial intelligence, you're probably in the wrong. So find something with AI and you'll probably be set.
But I also heard that investment over here in like crypto is not very welcomed in Korea, at least like legally for
Foreigners?
외국인s. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's a hot take, but I think like crypto's a scam. Totally. Like there's probably a lot of people that love crypto, but personally, I just don't see any intrinsic value in it. I mean, it can go up 100 times from now. I'll still never buy it. So, because I don't know why it moves up or why it goes down other than somebody else is willing to pay more. So to me, it's not very comfortable. Like if I own a stock and it goes down 10%, but there's like some news that happened to the stock and it caused to go down to 10%, I understand it. Whereas if Bitcoin goes down 20% on a random Tuesday, there's no earnings or business news to cause that crash. So I would end up panicking. So I prefer stocks over crypto, but
I like how Elon Musk smoking joints can affect stock markets and things like that. It's really interesting to me. I once heard the stock market described as rich people's feelings.
yeah.
And it's wonderful. But yeah, I've learned something new. The way you describe that, I can feel it's a real passion for you.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. That's cool. That's very good.
Half of what he said was gibberish to me. I was like, no.
It's similar when you talk about webtoons, maybe, John. We get there. We can come back to education and work if you want, but I'm wondering, since you've been here, while you're looking at it, have there been any Korean trends or cultures or things that you've either really loved or really hated? Is there any part of the, I don't know, MBTI's fried chicken?
No, go ahead.
I drink more coffee, I think. More too many coffees for me. And the coffee here is cheap, right? Cheaper than China. So, and easy to get. This is key. And if say some trend, so I need to think about.
How
Go
many
ahead.
coffees a day are you on, Leah?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah. If more than one, I can sleep the whole night. Yeah.
Makes sense. Like the American, like Americano, they drink so much of it. Like every time I have a friend, every time I see her, she has one in her hand.
Yeah.
No matter what time in the day it is, I'm like, girl, how are you living this life? But like it's not a trend. It's more like a habit. They have photo everywhere, every time, with everyone. I love it. But at the same time, it's kind of creepy. Like sometimes the first days I went in Korea, I was like, can they appreciate a moment without taking a picture of it?
No.
Yeah. And that was kind of crazy because I'm not in my friend group, I'm not the one who's going to take pictures and film easily. But since I'm here, I got this habit more often of just getting out my phone, because there are so many places made for taking picture, like a photo shoot, a photo booth. There are so many photo booths here, and it's great. It's great because you can like save memories with your friends, especially for us exchange students. Like every day is a memorable day, so it's great. But at the same time, it's kind of like you always have your phone with you for taking a picture of that time. Oh, wait, this place is beautiful. Before appreciating like this, we have to take a picture of it. So it's kind of creepy, kind of dystopian feeling, but at the same time, it's really nice. So yeah, I do like this trend.
You'll never have it, but I have lots of sort of old Korean men friends, and every time we take a photo, it's, fighting. You have to do this. And I'm like, it's just the weirdest thing for me to do. But they always want to do it. I've taken, because I have to take so many photos, I've taken just a standing like this and giving a V sign. And the best thing about it is in England, this means F you. It's the same as putting a middle finger up. It means that in England. So I'm just walking around just doing this to it. And it looks kind of like, cute, and people like it and they do it with me. And I've just gotten away with doing it the whole time because I don't know what to do when people take photos of me. Like, it's like I am smiling, honest on the inside. So I've taken to doing that.
And like there is also like this thing with my friend in France. We always like have different poses when we take pictures, and so we were like, one of my favorite poses is like and so I go take pictures of it with my Korean friends, and I do like and they're like
Teach you.
because like they were all cute, and usually they don't take like multiple pose, like they take like a kind of similar pose. So I'm coming with my big like switch and like I move so fast, but that's a fun thing.
This one gets me.
This one,
the V underneath the chin. This one.
But it's really fun. I kind of love it too. It's a part of the culture of like lookism. You have to look good every time because you don't know when you're gonna take a picture. So
you don't know when you're gonna get invited to a podcast.
True.
One of the recommendations I gave to Jo before she leaves is to get a 중명 사진 shot, an official Korean photo. You must have one.
I have one,
and they're amazing, aren't they? They're something else.
That's someone else. That's not me on the picture.
To
That's
be
not
a
me.
new person.
Yeah, and that's what you should try and get.
How does it go? Like, do you go to a photograph?
You just go to a photo shop and you sit there and they'll take your photo and you'll go back and get it, or they'll send it to you and
you'll be able to.
Who's that?
Will they whitewash me?
Probably. They'll do what they want. The first one I got done, he photoshopped a jacket on me. It was summer. I wasn't wearing a jacket, and I got one. Right, and he photoshopped a blazer on me. It's incredible.
They removed all my moles from my face.
Wow.
Yeah, and all my curls. They like removed it from my face, and I was just like, "Who is that person?" They kind of straightened my hair.
Wow. Okay. I'm interesting. I want to see like this character. Who is she?
It's completely Korean culture having this photo. The beautiful version of you, or the Korean version of you, I should say.
Korean version, yeah. When it comes to trends, I feel like they interchange every month. There's always something new. That's part of the Korean culture that I like, I guess. There's always a new flavor to try. There's always, like, even if you go to Baskin Robbins, they have like monthly menu that's limited. So it's always very fun. I feel like pop-up stores became really, really popular, and there are certain areas of the city that become popular at certain time. So last year it was Seongsu, but I feel like nowadays it's Seongsu. It's turning into Hongdae at this point, and it's turning into Myeongdong. If you visit, go, fun, but in general, I feel like a lot of whenever it gets too popular, the Koreans kind of shift into a quieter place, and then it becomes popular, overly popular among the foreigners and everybody, which that's not a bad thing necessarily, but it like tends to shift, which is also quite fun. Clothing trends, there's a piece of clothing or maybe a color that gets very popular.
Do you own a long padding?
I do, yes, I do, but it's not because of a Korean trend. It's because it's warm and it's cold here, you guys.
Yeah. The one I don't like is when they wear the long padding, so the long black coat that looks like a roll of gimbal, but they'll wear that, but you can see their ankles. So they've got no, you know what I'm talking about. It looks outrageous. They're Crocs, but the long padding. Like, what are you doing?
The Crocs thing makes me crazy here. Like the
Girl,
Korean people,
try it. It's life changing.
No,
I know. It looks bad, but when you try it, and there are always fun ones, the funky ones.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
And I saw like so many men's feet in the subway. And it's shocking to me because like in France we would like usually say for free. It's like really, thank you. But like in the subway, you can see like so, especially like in like a summer, it makes sense. But even now,
Winter,
I
right?
saw so many men with like their toes out.
To be fair,
Please.
girls have the dogs out too.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that was a bit shocking to me. Like that's the biggest culture shock I got.
Okay, I can agree
How
with this
easy they show their feet. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Quentin Tarantino would love this country. You know, people with feet fetish. They'd be all about this. Come to Korea, look at the toes. Get the.
Weird.
Do you say girls with their dogs out?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you, Dillon, any trends or cultures or these things that you see?
I agree with Zhaniya quite a bit on this one. Like the pop-up store trends
Yeah.
are always like, it feels like there could be a store that you like in Korea, and in the course of like 2 weeks, all of a sudden it's a brand new store. It's like, what happened? Like they'll tear it down, rip it down, and then build a brand new store in like no time. And it's like, oh, I'll try that now. So things are constantly changing here. Like you might not go to a neighborhood for like a couple of months and then go back and it's like, what is this place? There's
Different
new
place.
stores, new restaurants. So I like that aspect of Korea a lot. There's always like exhibitions. There's always something going on in the
Yeah.
city. So you just open up Instagram and there's always some sort of new event or free public light show at a stream or blow up thing or so there's always events and stuff to do here. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of living here is the trends that are happening throughout the city, and a lot of them are free too. So that's always a nice
And
bonus.
Koreans in general, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Koreans in general are like the trends that they come up with recently. The one that I've been liking is Gen Z and Gen Alpha are actually popularizing older matchips. So if they are on the verge of closing down, as Dylan has mentioned, this kind of came into my head where a lot of the businesses are currently struggling with the inflation and everything going on. Oh, that's a separate video, sir. Where older places are not able to make the ends meet. A lot of the people tend to, on Naver or Kakao Maps, they tend to leave positive reviews and recommendations. And so those places become very, very popular.
Yeah.
So nowadays, a lot of younger Koreans tend to, instead of going into like fancier, popular places, tend to look out the least popular matchip and they go over there. Oh, it's like really, really good. It's very nice. Yeah. So not all trends are bad.
Yeah,
Some of
for
them
sure.
are really, really cute, actually.
I will say there's some strange trends here. Like when I first got here, there's like a mint chocolate chicken.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a fried chicken with mint chocolate sauce on it. And I was like, what is this? And then there's like mint chocolate versions of everything you
They
can
did
think
honey
of.
butter as well. There was
Yeah,
honey
honey butter
butter
was
everything for a
I
while.
love honey butter.
At the moment, it's like matcha. It's like green tea
Yeah,
everywhere.
matcha is the big
used
thing.
to
Just-
buy chocolate as well.
But they're just saying like matcha. You mean green tea? And it's got this new lease of life. That
But it's fun. I like it. It's like if you want a matcha donut, you'll be able to get the matcha donut. If you want a matcha burrito, you'll be able to get it.
And at the moment, they have tetonam and egennam. Tetonam being a replacement for sangnamje. Tetonam means basically somebody like me, a very masculine
Testosterone.
testosterone man. And egennam and egenyo as well would be a estrogen woman. So you're either masculine or feminine. They have these two words, which is it's still kind of very binary. But last semester, everybody was talking about 강아지상, 고양이상, a dog face or a cat face. And then they also had, this is true, I might get in trouble for this, but it's true, they would have dubusang and arabsang. Dubusang, tofu face, was somebody with a very pale complexion. An Arab face, Arabsang, and they would use this before, would be very dark, sharp features. It's all over the internet.
I heard about, but it was some times ago. I heard about like rat face and frog face.
Yeah. Dog face and cat face. And
Yeah.
If you go up to a woman in England and say you're a dog face, you're getting a slap. In Korea, it's very cute to have a dog face. Yeah.
No.
That's crazy.
When I used to work at a clothing shop, my Korean onnis. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna use the word.
You
proudly.
Korea boo. You're a Korea boo. You
My
said
Korean
only.
onnis would actually be like, "Oh, Zhaniya, your face, your kanji-sang. Oh, let me try to guess your MBTI." And those would be the talks that we would have on a daily basis. It wouldn't be like we wouldn't trauma bond over anything. You know, I feel like in a Western,
Trauma bond.
Yeah,
yes,
true.
with like my international friends, let's say, we would talk about how like, oh yeah, my dad used to hit me with a bat or something like this. But with a lot of my Korean onnis, we would mostly talk about the trends actually, of like, oh, whether you went over to that matchip or whether you've attended that pop-up store, and like discuss whether you like a testosterone man or an estrogen man. So like things like this are quite like part of the daily conversation.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, coming back to the whole friendship situation, it may feel
It's
a little
very, like,
bit surface level. Yeah. And I've worked with those people for like 9 months. A beautiful pregnancy, but
Beautiful pregnancy.
Where's the conception? Where is the delivery? Maybe. Yeah.
oh, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because the conversations were very surface level.
Yeah.
Never went too deep.
Shame.
Yeah.
But having a knowledge of those words and trends, it's not just the physical, the changing of the city, but those physical words and those things that you associate with being trendy. Really, they change so quickly and they reflect so much of this.
That's for true.
Leah, any thoughts on Korean cultures and trends? Is it very different from China, or is it?
I think most of it is similar, but some of must have some difference. So when I get in Korea, I think many people like some vitamin or just supplementant like that. It was sold in the Olive Young. Yeah, right. The Olive Young is so popular in China. So when I first time get to Korea, almost every day I will go to the Olive Young and buy something, come back. So from now on, I can take some vitamin in Korea, but I'm used to that. But in China, this is not so common things. Because people think this is just like medicine. So there were some bad sides for that. But I think Korean people like that. I think there were maybe some reason because every day they work so hard and they're so tired and get so caffeine. So they need some supplement for their health.
Those vitamin drinks you get with a little tablet in the top,
yeah.
you twist it off, and then you get they give them out all the time.
Yeah.
Take your vitamins.
I had a friend who was a bit sick like a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and one of her classmates noticed that she was like a very like bad health in the class, and so she ordered one of these vitamin and a drink and like some medicine during the class. At the end of the class, she said to my friend, "Oh, follow me. I have to get something." And she actually like gave it to her. It was so sweet, but at the same time, it's so Korean. You're like super Korean, just giving like a vitamins and like
I don't know if you guys have noticed quite yet, but I feel like protein has become very, very popular as well.
The protein
They're selling them
bars.
in little pouches,
Yeah.
so that also has become a big trend. And there's been a diet culture that is coming back, unfortunately, where there is a diet where you eat nothing but the protein pouches.
I've got 2 of those protein pouches in my fridge, and I have nothing in my fridge. But I've got 2 of those because I thought you could just drink them. I didn't realize you need to put water or milk in them. They're these kind of white pouches. So I thought, oh yeah, that looks new, and buy them. And I got home and I went, oh,
They're good though. Really good. Very yummy. But
Yeah.
it's something that gets gifted very often as well.
Yeah, I feel like Korea is such a like. At least Seoul is a very like fit and gym country. Like the health is so important here. Like I feel like like the gym culture, people going to the gym, people like paying attention to what they eat is so big here.
Kaluli care so much.
I feel fat here. Like I wouldn't back in England. I would just feel completely normal. I'd feel quite thin actually. There's a lot of big people in England. I'm here in Korea and I'm like, oh my God, I need to run again and do some work.
So you look fabulous. Don't let that get into you.
Thank you, darling. But it's still how I feel because around this culture of fitness and health and thinness.
But I feel like gym culture is a newness. It wasn't that.
No.
But it wasn't
I
like
feel
this
like it
5
was
years ago.
there.
No, it
I
wasn't.
feel like it's like a
I
year
feel like
or
recently
2.
it's really picked up, especially like running clubs.
Oh, those things.
They scared me.
If I go to the river, there's always like a huge pack. It's like, what's going on? Like,
There's just people running at you. Like, oh my God.
I was running one Sunday morning and I was running alone. I finished my run, so I was just walking and I saw 30 people coming at me. And they just they started running at the same time. Like they were just walking and then they got like 10 feet away from me, and they started running. And at the same time, I was like, "Is it the apocalypse? Like, do I need to run? What's going on?" But yeah, the running groups. I love this culture though, like doing sports in groups like that. I feel like it's so convivial.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more healthy maybe than the gym competition. So yeah, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think Korean people like night better than the the daytime because they also do the activities at night. So just get together and eat meal and drink the meju.
Yeah.
I think when I'm in Korean, I always hear some voice in the midnight, just drunk people shout on the street like that, and sometimes I get home very late, just like 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. I still in the library studying 공부해요.
Study.
Yeah, but when it is too late, it's also many people on the street. Maybe because there's a lot of restaurant and bar near the Hanyang University, so I will feel safe. So everyone is here, and also Korean is a little different. They will have the smart smoke room on the street.
Yeah.
They will have a space to smoke, and a lot of people just smoke in Korea than China. I think maybe so straightforward, so nervous. Yeah.
I love the that you can't smoke everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Because in Paris, you smoke
other people
everywhere.
Yeah.
You're born smoking in France, aren't you? So imagine the babies coming out.
I don't smoke, but I'm sure I'm a full-time smoking person, like because of the passive smoking. But here they pay so much attention to the space. Like you can't smoke in bus station. You have like these little smoke bubbles, and you can't smoke near like a school, kindergarten or something. So I feel like that's really nice.
Yes,
that's only the last 10 years or so. If you ask somebody that came when I came to Korea 20 years ago, like, what's Korea like? You would probably say this and say, because it was just that sound, and the spit was everywhere. They'd be spitting in cups. But it's amazing how it's changed, that you come here and go, wow, there's no smoking here. That's how quickly this place changes. Absolutely. What's the hardest? I love the way by the fact that you go, when I get home late, like 11 p.m. That's not like,
for me is late.
Yeah, it's very good. What's the hardest thing about being a foreigner here?
Everything is difficult.
Apart from trying to find your name on, like, is it Tizzard, David Andrew? Is it David Andrew Tizzard? That's a really hard thing. How do you spell your name?
They spelled my last name. In French, it's pronounced Filoche. In Korean, it's for Piloshu. But yeah, that's cute. I think one of the hardest thing may be administration and like immigration office. If you are alone and non-Korean speaker, it can get really difficult. I had like some visa issue at the beginning, and so I went there alone. And it was really difficult to get to understand what they were asking for me. And they in immigration office, they are getting everything so fast. They want there are so many people. They want to get things done. And so since I couldn't understand, they were like getting kind of mad at me. So the next time I went with my Bella, with my roommate, Korean roommate, and she could like speak to them with me. And even for administration issues in my school, it's so much better to have Korean speakers with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big difficulty, I think. But if you speak Korean, then you're fine. Or you're better than me, at least.
Yeah, the language is difficult. So I'm afraid to take the taxi because I heard that the ajashi is very short tempered. So if you don't speak Korean to them, they will get mad and just shout, "Oh, get out! I don't want to do this, captain." Yeah, like that.
Sometimes I do wonder how different it is if you look like you and don't speak Korean, or if you look like Joe or Dillon. There's a different expectations, I think.
Yes.
When people see me, usually they directly switch to English. So that's nice. But it can get a bit frustrating when you're trying to like practice your Korean.
yeah.
So like they say hello, and I'm like 안녕하세요, and they say, oh, what do you want to order? 이거 주세요. Just forcing the Korean. But yeah, apart from that, like the stares can get pretty annoying too. I don't get annoyed by that because I think it's more curiosity and it's like with kind of respect to it, but it can get like oppressive, like people staring at you because you look different. So yeah, that can be annoying too as a foreigner.
They look at Korean people that look different like that as well. You know, I think that nunchi, that nameshison, that public gaze is very, very strong here.
Yeah.
You especially feel it when you're doing your recycling. You go out and you can feel like everybody looking at you. Every window, every apartment is making sure that's plastic, that's paper.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you feel like if you put it in the wrong thing, somebody's going to jump out and like attack you.
There's going to be some Squid Game alarm or something. I feel that every time. Yeah, I do.
Even in the school, there are some different trash bins, and like, sometimes I just stop for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, is this plastic or is this paper? Like, what am I gonna do? And just like the woman doing the cleaning is like, just give it to me.
And then they put them all into the same bin anyway.
And I'm like,
what am I doing?
Okay, you know what? Whatever.
I think for me, probably the hardest part has been like accommodation type stuff. Like if you're in a Goshiwan, it's kind of simple, but if you're looking for like an actual room, like a one room or something, then it starts to get intimidating because then you're having to deal with like the loan money. Then you start looking online and then you hear all these stories about people getting scammed. And it's like, oh, like how am I going to do this? And then going to a realtor, and then you basically have to have someone that can speak Korean at that point because you're dealing with, you know, documents and stuff. So that's definitely probably been the hardest point. The most intimidating is like any of that official documentation for like big stuff like that. And the truth is almost everything here is slightly difficult as a foreigner. Like nothing is as easy as it'll ever be when you're back home.
Of course.
Even simple things. So those things start to add up over a long period of time. It's like that, like everything isn't as easy as it is back home, and it starts to get to you after a while. And what else is difficult as being a foreigner? I mean, the language barrier, but that's pretty obvious. But yeah, I guess also when the unexpected things happen, like if you get sick, like back home, you have people to take care of you. And then if you really hurt yourself, you can go to the hospital and like accurately describe what happened and stuff like that. But if you're here, if you fall down and hurt yourself bad, it's like you have that, all you can say is, it hurts. And it's like, well, what'd you do? It hurts. Yeah, so that would be that stuff is hard when the unexpected happens. An emergency, like for me, probably the most terrifying experience here I had here was my bank in Canada locked me out for some reason.
For some reason.
I had
Wasn't because of crypto.
I had just paid my tuition in Korea, so I transferred a big amount of money. And then the same day, for some reason, they locked out my Canadian bank account. And then I started getting emails from like a scammer saying like, oh, enter in this. And so I tried calling, but then like trying to call back to your home country with the time difference, it's like a 14-hour difference from where I live. So it's like, I was here at like 3 a.m. trying to call back in Canada during the day. And, you know, if I was back home, I could call my parents or drive to the bank and get it solved. But being abroad, like, that was one of the most terrifying because I thought somebody had access to my bank account, was like selling all my stocks. And that was the worst night of my life. That was a bad night. But so that type of stuff, I think, is the hardest part about being a foreigner. But that's not really Korea specific. I feel like you could say that for anywhere you go abroad. So
the health service here is very good if you do get sick. And you miss the comfort food, obviously. If I'm sick, I want certain British foods or things that I grew up with. But I really agree with the fact that sometimes if you're in a dentist or a doctor, they tell you they're going to do something in Korean. You've got no idea what it is. You're like, I guess I'm done. I'm kind of glad not to know. It's like, right, we're going to do this. We're going to stick this in here and we're going to pull this. And like, okay. I like not knowing those things sometimes. It's good.
For me, when it comes to, I kind of agree that it's just a part of immigration. All the bank bank is very
Yeah.
difficult. Opening a card over here, you cannot do a lot of things without owning an ARC.
Yeah.
And that's a journey on it itself, to be honest. Without official documentations, you can really move around the country. You can't order things. It's kind of difficult. And the operation time of banks is usually like from 9 to 5, which it is probably everywhere, right? But it's still a little bit more challenging. And I've also noticed that those official places like banks or like rental spaces, they're not very they do not know how to work with foreigners quite yet, although there is an increase in the population of foreigners in Korea in general, and it's advertised as to be this magical place to live in, and in many aspects it is. But I feel like people and maybe like governmental policies perhaps are not quite ready to operate with foreigners, because I've had me, myself, and my friends would struggle a lot with like bank or transferring money because they would be like, oh, you are Wegugin, you're not allowed to do it. So we always have to ask someone and bother someone to help us, even though we are able to explain the thing that we want to do. Like I go to the bank and I'm able to express myself. I'm not allowed to do it because I'm a foreigner and because there are certain restrictions on what I can and I can't do, which is very frustrating. And it wouldn't be anything illegal.
Yeah.
No, but it would be like a regular thing. But if it's, let's say, transferring a big sum of money somewhere else, I would be questioned a lot. And I'll be like, guys, it's normal. I'm sending money to my mom, please. But
I think I know the answer to this, Johnny, already, but I want to check. The current president has given out 2 sums of money to people so far. Do you get that? As someone lives and works here, pays tax? No? Okay.
That's another thing that I wanted to mention, is like this uncertainty with visas. Although there are improvements. Like just recently, they extended the D10 period from a few months to a year, which is great. And I'm hopeful that they're gonna continue on improving those aspects. But this constant fear of like, oh my God, my visa is running out. I need to find a job. I need to find an employer who would be willing to support me. And even now, as someone who's about to graduate, I'm like, will my workplace give me a visa? I'm not so sure. So there's always this thing of where you are dependent on your employer who can abuse you. Been there, done that. Or you're constantly dependent on someone, but they're not necessarily your friends. They're not necessarily your family, which is, it can add up, as you mentioned, over the years. And another Korea-specific thing that really came to my mind, oh my God, you guys, mold.
Mold?
Mold.
Yeah.
Korean mold.
The humidity here in the summertime is
Korean mold is something that like Korea-specific struggle as an immigrant over here, mold. I have nothing to say. I've been attacked by mold 2 summers ago. My place does not get enough sunlight, so the growth of mold, you can get mold poisoning. It's everywhere. You cannot get rid of it. You just constantly need to do cleaning, and unfortunately, the services that provide the cleaning of mold does not go away completely as well, and it's kind of pricey as well. As a student, maybe you do not have extra 500,000 won laying around. So first off, it's kind of expensive. Second of all, you can never totally get rid of it. And all the places, unfortunately, do tend to have mold. So that is something that's...
Hey, mold.
Yeah, and a lot
It's bigger,
of...
it's greener, it's bagger. Yeah.
Also, there are a lot of mosquito in Korea, I think. Yes.
Like that's one of the aspects that reminded me of Caribbeans, like the summer humidity and mosquitoes and the heat. Like it's exactly the same climate as in the Caribbeans. So I was like, what? Am I home? Am I home?
It's interesting that it's on the same, Korea is kind of, I might be wrong, but along the same parts as Greece, the Mediterranean, and Florida. So the summers are exactly what you would expect, but what they have, which is unique, is those super cold winters where it fills with snow.
Surprisingly cold.
Get ready, you guys.
From
get
a
ready.
Canadian person,
Yeah.
yes.
From a person
Freezing.
from Kazakhstan, it's really cold. And all the Koreans are surprised, like, oh, it's cold for them. Like, it's freezing.
Get ready. The word that
Yeah.
you're going to hear soon is chuo, chuo,
Yeah.
chuo, 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 chuo. Korean people just walking out of a store and go chuo, chuo, to themselves, which is really interesting. If I translate it into English, I don't see many English people walking out of a store and go
So
cold,
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 cold, cold, cold.
So we will do better the same. Hold on.
But yeah. And all my friends be like, oh, be safe, be safe. My teachers too, like, oh, it's starting to get cold. It's like Game of Thrones. Winter is
Yeah,
coming.
But winter is really coming.
Yeah.
Every email, every message I'm getting at the moment is like, please take care of your health.
Yeah.
Please wrap up warm. They all say that. It's Korea has 4 seasons, don't you know? I'm very proud of
Well,
this.
actually, too,
Yeah.
to be completely honest.
Winter, summer. Like,
Autumn is nice. It's short,
Autumn
but
is
it is
so
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's
Spring
beautiful.
is beautiful.
That
But
little period where the leaves are kind of red and yellow and
Yeah,
green,
yeah.
and it's
It's incredible.
So
I did
how
hiking.
long does it last? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
but it's
3
two
weeks, yeah.
wonderful weeks, to be honest. Like doing hiking during autumn was the best thing I did. Like I really loved it. And I thought I liked autumn back in France, but here it's like nothing like it. Like it's really amazing, the combination of colors.
I love the fact we've got a French person saying autumn and not fall.
Fall.
This is really pleasing. By the way, here's one thing
Autumn.
about hiking. So we started talking about hiking with Dillon, that if you go hiking, this is a current thing apparently, that if you have one trouser leg rolled up, that means game on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm open and I'm available. It's a signal to other hikers.
I missed that.
No.
You want to keep that in mind when you're looking for that chebol oppa, one trouser leg rolled up.
Have you ever heard about those hiking clubs that are actually
The older generation.
Yeah,
No. The hiking clubs that are actually secretly just an orgy
yeah.
Yeah.
in disguise.
Yeah.
It's usually like older people. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I heard.
All sorts of people, older people and younger people. But look at you so hiking.
So please be
I'm
careful.
trying to remember if I met any. No,
You
that's
see, when
Dylan-
huge groups of like Ajis and Ajumas group up together, I didn't know this, but somebody told me like, yeah, that's like basically like a hookup thing for like older people.
When he said that somebody offered him a gimbop at the summit, that was a euphemism.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's well known here, but one of the things, because you're out in nature and you're away from CCTVs and cameras and things like that, it's like the nature's love motel. But one trouser leg is the
Nature
cue.
calling, yeah.
One piece of advice to somebody thinking about studying here: stay home, come quickly. What would it be? One piece of advice to people.
Oh, I just like it's linked to the visa as well. Don't do the same mistake I did. Before, if you come with a student visa, stay in Korea. Stay in fucking Korea. Don't move around until you get your alien card. Because
100%.
I did 2 weeks in Korea, and then I went with my friends in Japan, and then I came back in Korea. And that was a big mistake, and no one told me. And because if you enter the Korean territory with a student visa, they're saying, oh, okay, you want to study here. Good idea. And then you go to Japan or another country, and they say, you're visiting, you're a tourist. Okay,
you cannot
nice.
get back.
And then you come back to Korea, and they say, you were here 2 weeks ago. Your visa like expired, like it's like get cancelled because you went to another country. So I had to go to immigration office over and over and over again for hours. Oh my god! So don't do this mistake, because fortunately I could change my visa to a student visa, but I heard that it's not common, and sometimes people need to come back to their country and do the visa again to the embassy and then come back to Korea. So that's very difficult. So one piece of advice: stay in Korea until you get your alien card. For real. So yeah, that's my first advice.
I think if you want to go to Korea and study, you must learn some Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the basic things like that. And another suggestion that if you go to Olivia, please make a membership. You will really need that, I think. The first time I just stay a short time, so I don't need it. But now I think, wow, I buy too many things. If I have a membership, I will have a lot of more things like that. So just like
Your first point is very interesting because imagine going to England to study and you couldn't speak English, or imagine going to France to study and you couldn't speak French. It is this really interesting mindset. You come here without being able to speak the language. And of course, there's all the imperialism and attitudes towards lingua francas, but learning Korean is very important.
I feel like you're missing a whole part of the culture and the experience here is completely different. Like I wish I could speak more and have full conversation with Ajuma and Ajushis who stop me in the street and ask me around like some things. Like I can talk a little bit. So I could tell that they were like so funny or like so nice to me and stuff, but I couldn't like have a full conversation with them, and sometimes it's so frustrating. And even like they have really great libraries here, and I love it, but it's so frustrating because I cannot read it like any of the books. So yeah, learn a little bit of Korean.
Yeah, Korean is difficult, I think, even though it is much easier for Chinese people because a lot of pronunciation is the same, right? But it's still, when I learn the grammar, I just, wow, why the verb just put at the last of sentence? Yeah. It's so weird.
But I feel like Korean is kind of easy, at least compared to French.
Yeah. I agree
but
with that.
even compared to Japanese and Chinese, like they have one alphabet. They don't have hiragana, katakana, kanji. No, they don't have like different pronunciation as in Chinese. So it's one alphabet, and the grammar is more complicated, but it's still more understandable, I think, than maybe other like language structure. So learning the basics, I feel, is kind of easy, and it really changes your experience here.
It blew my mind when I realized that Chinese grammar is the same as English.
Yeah.
The sentence structure and the syntax and the word order and all of that. I was like, really? Wow, really?
Yeah.
This is easy. Let's go. And the Korean one is all over the place sometimes. Dillon, Zhaniya, a piece of advice for anyone? Learn Korean. Don't leave the fucking country. Quoting Joe.
I mean, if you're someone outside of Korea contemplating coming here, then I definitely recommend it, especially for studying. Like I said, the atmosphere for school here, it is great. Like you just feel so encouraged, and like even when you see like the little high school and elementary students like studying so late and going to school early in the morning and like getting ready for their exams, it just, I don't know, encourages you to do well in school. So I would say that. And then once you do get here, whatever your hobby is, my advice is to find other people that have the same hobby, no matter where they're from, and like create like a little like group for yourself, because it is difficult to live abroad. So if you have a community before you, I think it helps a lot. And then my third piece of advice would be, if whatever city you are in Korea, as soon as you get there, get comfortable, but explore the rest of Korea. Like from Canada, like the country's so huge, it's really difficult to explore the country. And expensive, but in Korea you can get on the KTX and go
so
explore
quick.
in different part of the country quite easily. So that's one of my favorite things, is you can easily go explore the country just on a day or weekend trip. So that would be my advice. Yeah.
Busan is good.
Busan
Daegu is good.
Busan is good. Jeju is good.
Jeju is good.
Jeju is really good.
Yeah.
Busan is good. Jeju is really good.
Yeah.
For me, a piece of advice, I'd say if you have an opportunity to come here as an exchange student, do that first before committing to a full-on, full-time student status. See whether you like it or not, because in some cases we are fortunate enough to really like it here, but I've had people complain about the food, and it's just their personal preference, right? No. I'm not complaining the food. No, but it's like if you are a vegan or a Muslim person, it's a little bit more difficult. It's has gotten better, but it's not quite there yet. So in that sense, that could be difficult. So if you have an opportunity to come here for traveling or an exchange. See whether you like it or not, and then if it's not your piece of cake, don't. Come here for holidays, of course. Support the economy. That would be great. But it gets to you. I've had people leave the country because it was just too much for them. And especially, I'd say also take a gap year maybe. Don't come here as a 16, 18-year-old, 17-year-old. First off, because you won't be able to get any documentations over here. Because I've had people graduate a bit early, come to Korea, but then they were not allowed to get a bank account over here because they're underage. Or a phone number. They were not able to get that. So unless you're 18, 19, you would have some difficulties with that. What else? Save up some money. Save up some cash. Because,
Money helps a lot.
yes, although some people are fortunate enough to come from a wealthier country, still the money flies off in Korea. I feel like it's more difficult to control your finances over here. Everything is so pretty. Everything is so tasty. Everything is so nice. Everyone is very trendy, and you try to be on par with that. So the money just gone. No matter how much you work. And deposit system. Oh, guys, accommodation, Dillon was not lying when he said it's difficult.
It's stressful.
You would have to pay up to, starting off, it has increased as well. Starting off $5,000, $3,000 if you want to live in Seoul. Can get up to $20,000 if you want to live in a nice place, mold-free.
Hey, mold.
So that's something that you need to take into consideration. That's something that I didn't know before coming here, that the deposit money would be such a important aspect of it. What else? Learn Korean, obviously. If you have an opportunity to study at an ohakdang before committing to a full-time study, do that. It's wonderful. Up to 3급, 4급. It's great.
What is a homhak?
Ohakdang is
Ohakdang.
basically a language school near the university. That would actually help you get a scholarship. So if you, let's say, want to study at Yonsei or Koryo-de, it's way easier to get accepted into language school. Study there for half a year, get that 4급, get your topic exam, and you'll be able to get a scholarship from a university.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's easier to get accepted that way. And you learn some Korean as well. And then later on, you can just do it by yourself. That's great. What else? Step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's something that you must do if you live abroad, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
But especially in countries like Korea or Japan, where everyone tends to be more closed off, you have to be the one who would go and get out of there. Because I've had people who are more introverted and are more shy even. I would say they're very social, but because they're very anxious and very scared of doing things by themselves or just getting out of their comfort zone, they were not able to enjoy Korea as much. So
I feel like another advice would be don't be scared to do things by yourself. Don't wait for people to do things by yourself. Because, for example, I love hiking, but all the friends I made here did not like hiking. So I was like, oh, do you want to come with me? Do you want to come with me? They were like, no, maybe a cafe is better. And
They thought you were coming onto them. Let's go to the hiking orgies.
come with me. But in the end, I just went by myself. And I love, even though I have a ton of friends, I still like doing things by myself. And don't wait on people. It's hard, it's difficult, because that's not something you would normally do maybe in your daily life. But the thing of stepping out of your comfort zone, you went all this way to another country, you don't know anything about the culture, about the language maybe. So try things by yourself. And you will meet maybe even people like this. I met a guy like this, and
Chebol?
no, not a chebo. He was a waiter, but whatever. He's still nice.
Waiters have feelings too.
But you can meet people like the ajushi who told me welcome to Korea. I met him because I think maybe he saw I was alone, so he came to me more easily. So you can meet great people like that, and you can make beautiful memories and experiences even though you're alone. alone doesn't mean sadness. Doesn't mean you feel lonely. You feel like isolated. Not always. So yeah, really enjoy.
It's easy country to be alone in these
Yeah.
days. You can put your AirPods in, you can order it from a kiosk and sit down. Everything is catered to this if you want it. And there's people. I think this is wonderful, and I hope those listening have got some insights into what it means to be different types of students coming from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. I've laughed. I've got a few catchphrases in my head already. And most importantly, I found out some new things about the people around this table, which I didn't know before we started. So that's a wonderful thing. Just to close this out, I'm going to ask you to just say goodbye, just maybe one sentence in your own language, because I think we also need to be conscious of the fact that at least 3 of the people I think perhaps around this table have been speaking not in their native language. So I think that just might be an interesting way to close us out, just very short and simple. Joe, en français, s'il vous plaît.
Merci de nous avoir écoutés, c'était super, j'ai adoré cette expérience. Ça fait trop bizarre de parler français après un long moment. Mais merci, c'était génial et j'espère que vous allez enjoy. Oh merde, c'est en anglais. Mais j'espère que vous allez profiter de votre expérience en Corée. Voilà.
Ici.
Well, I will speak in English because it is the one I'm good at.
Yeah.
But just thank you for listening. And yeah, if you're considering studying abroad, and whether it be Korea or anywhere else, I would definitely recommend it. It's a big life experience. You only get to live once. And I'm the type of person that tends to think that you'll regret the things you didn't do more than the things that you did do. So if there's something that's sort of eating away at the back of your mind, what if, my advice would be to give it a shot. And if you fail, you can always go back home. But it might turn out to be one of the greatest adventures of your life. So give it a chance.
Lovely. Zhaniya?
For me, құрметті көрермендер, осы подкастты қараған үшін өте бір алғыс пен рахметімді айтқым келіп тұр. Қазақ тілінде айтқанда чуть-чуть неудобно, если честно. Осыған қарамастан алғысымды айтқым келіп тұр. Көргеніңізге көп рахмет. Қазақ тілінде айтып, енді орысша тілінде айтайын. Спасибо большое за просмотр. Если у вас есть какие-то вопросы, можете писать нам, спрашивать, без проблем, мы рады будем помочь. Почему-то прозвучало так, как будто я даю какой-то сервис речь. В любом случае, спасибо вам большое. Да, мне больше нечего сказать.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's really hypnotic just to say. Can you do ASMR, please?
Maybe that could be my potential.
Yes.
She could be saying the widest thing. It would
All
be
these
like,
people at the same word.
My turn. 叶安，各位听众朋友们，来自中国的朋友们，感觉说回中文我会更加自然一些。首先我觉得 David 这个 podcast 这个节目是一个非常好的国际平台，然后大家可以在这个上面看到各国的声音以及各种视角的一种体会吧。如果觉得我们的节目也非常好的话，给 David 一个关注吧。谢谢大家聆听。
谢谢。
Thank
you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice.
Chill. And we're done. Relax.
I still feel some nervous when I'm talking English.
Yeah.
But much better than before,
I'm very proud of you.
Great.
Yeah,
you did great.
It was so much fun to hear the authentic voices.
It was so weird to speak French again.
Me too.
It seemed like you're struggling with my language.
It's been so long since
when I
I was
started.
like, which language should I speak?
Yeah. We saw the hesitation.
Yeah.
I spoke both.
Like, at some point, I just said enjoy in English, and I was like, oh shoot, that's an
no.
English word.
Dude, I was like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was like, and when I started to speak, I had an accent, and I was like, what am I?